Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. It's your ghost host with the most tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs to recount our spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So, light the jack-o'-lantern, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's spooky selection. The Magic Schoolbus going Batty. It's like something out of young Tiki's nightmares. Dragon, do you like that I switched up the maniacal laugh thing? I finally retired it, and in exchange, I've kind of like come up with like something that kind of sums up my feelings, like kind of like in evil yell form.
Kind of. We'll see how it tested.
Doing something different with it. All right, holy crap, Magic Schoolbus, Dragon. How have we never talked about this thing ever in the history of us working together?
It is quite surprising. I mean, honestly, I think the rationale is because they're in school. I would assume there's no Christmas episode of Magic Schoolbus. Do you think? Is there?
I doubt it.
That's the thing. I think that's why it's never come up, because usually we be on our Christmas radar. I think it's kind of why.
Oh man. Okay, Dragon. Here is the dealio, my friend, with the Magic Schoolbus, okay? I'm going to give you the lowdown from a true 90s kid born in 1990, all right? Oh, Magic Schoolbus, Jesus. Honestly, kind of like just saying the words kind of brings back that sort of like chill of nostalgia that just washes over you. Like, I'm sorry, Dragon, I'm going to go all Ken Armand on you for a second. Like, you know, the smell of freshly sharpened pencils, Dragon, on the first day of school. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
That's what the Magic Schoolbus radiates in me. But you know what else the Magic Schoolbus radiates in me, Dragon?
Catchy theme songs?
Yes, but besides catchy theme songs and childhood nostalgia.
Sheer terror!
Yes, I'm not even joking, folks. This show is fucking horrifying. Oh, man. Dragon, basically, here's the deal. I never watched this show outside of school. I guess I just didn't watch PBS. I don't know. I remember watching Dragon Tales at home, so I don't know how I missed this. But point being, this was always the rainy day show for my school. Dragon, that's what I will always and forever associate Magic Schoolbus with, is like, hey, we got a rainy day, we can't do anything, specifically in PE class. Let's sit inside and watch Magic Schoolbus. Dragon, with that rainy day would come a sense of dread and terror. It'd be like a Russian roulette, Dragon, because most of the Magic Schoolbus episodes are fine, all right? Most of them are fine. Dragon, a select 2 or 3, the one that we're going to be talking about included, was just sheer tiki nightmare fuel.
Really? This was one of them?
This was one of them.
Oh my god!
Dragon, here's the thing. Okay, Inside Ralphie is definitely the worst. We'll talk about. I want to talk about
that
Ralphie.
one. I also have a little bit of terror with.
Like, let's put a hold on that. I want to do a mini breakdown of that. Okay. But
all right, pin in that.
But
one. Okay.
This Dragon, I think I repressed this. I honestly do, because this honestly has all the trappings of everything that young Tiki hated as a child. I mean, it's got so many bats, Dragon. I'm going to quiz you on young Tiki's origins here, all right, Dragon? Do you remember what point in my origin story bats came into play and terrified me as a kid?
Well, give me a second here. I mean, I know there's the Halloween store to factor in there, so I would imagine they're in a whole pet store of varieties.
You remember the Halloween store. I'm touched.
I'm saying there's the Halloween store and there's the pet correlation, which I believe, was it a 2-in-1 or was it just like
it was a 2-in-1. It was a 2-in-1.
Yeah, it was a 2-in-1. So I imagine there's a correlation there. That's all I really got in regards to bats, Tiki. Either that or you went to a zoo or something, which I'm on the fly guessing. Zoo? Was it zoo? Which I have no idea. I got nothing.
No, no, no. It was actually a Big Thunder Mountain dragon.
Ah.
So Big Thunder Mountain, you know that first room that you go into, and it's pitch black except for those damn bats.
Mm.
Oh man, Dragon, I don't know why, but for some reason those bats really got to me, and it kind of instilled in me a fear of bats from really early on as a kid. And honestly, still to this day, I don't like them.
So that
I
was
don't know why.
that was your Temple of Doom moment. Those aren't fruit bats, honey. They're giant. Those aren't birds, honey. Those are giant vampire bats.
I mean, you know, the funny thing is that the bats in Big Thunder Mountain are really just like Halloween decorations. They're just like flimsy little bats on sticks. Like you can literally see the sticks when I go on them now.
The funny
But
thing
at the
is,
time,
funny thing is, in Temple of Doom, they're actually fruit bats because apparently vampire bats are smaller, so they have these big ones. Anyway.
All right, Dragon, I'm going to give you a perfect illustration of how this still affects me to this day, all right? As you may or may not know, I work at a thrift store. In this thrift store, we are in pure decorating mode, and for Halloween, we get some pretty cool stuff in. Now, every once in a while, someone will see something hanging up, like a Halloween decorations that we've hung up, and they'll want to buy it for themselves, and that's cool. We're a thrift store. That's what we're all about. And the store manager will come and grab me because I'm honestly the tallest person that works for the company, and I will get it down for them. Dragon, this person wanted me to get down a giant bat. All right, and oh man, Dragon, suffice to say, me as a grown ass 29-year-old man, I was intimidated by this fucking giant rubber bat dragon. I
So
mean,
basically, you had the deleted scene from Batman Forever, where he actually kind of like did like the touching hands moment with the giant bat.
Dragon, I did not want to deal with this thing. I mean, I really didn't. So suffice to say, Dragon, what I'm trying to get at here is bats are just not my thing. They're kind of like, as you know, Dragon, the big thing you know about is the carnivorous plants. I really don't like carnivorous plants.
Oh yes, and it was quite a delight when we went to that Poison Ivy episode.
So this is definitely going to be all about me squeaming and scrolling around about the bats. Also, Dragon, also, there is one specific body horror element of this that does not sit well with me at all, even as a grown-ass adult. All right? I'll get to it when I get to it. Suffice to say, speaking of body horror, Dragon, this is something I think we'll inevitably have to do as a full-length episode at some point, because I feel like you and I have a shared childhood nostalgia and trauma for it, but Inside Ralphie.
Man, I don't know if I can do that one. Tiki, I can't even go back to Ozzy and Drix. I'm that traumatized by inside the body stuff, man. I can't.
No, I hear you. It's one of those things that we both kind of share. I think you have it a little stronger than I
used
do,
to love Ozzy and Drix because it was a cop
Uh-huh.
show within the human body. But again, it was a cop show in animation, but still inside the body. I can't go back to it.
Okay, Inside Ralphie, Dragon. The one thing I can tell you is that damn thing included a shot of a human heart. I don't need to see that, Dragon. All right, I think it's pretty clear. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, oh, Dragon and I are kind of reliving some trauma right now. It's easily, Dragon, I will say that shot of the human heart is easily one of the most traumatic things I ever went through as a child in terms of the media I was exposed to. I watched The Shining when I was like 8. And that didn't affect me at all compared to seeing that fucking human heart. All right, that's the level we're talking here. Yeah, it's one of the most freaking I mean, I like just the notion of that Inside Ralphie episode where, you know, like Ralphie's basically gonna die if they don't cure him.
Oh God.
Yeah. All right.
Wait, he was on his deathbed?
I think so. I think it was.
I don't think he was on. I don't think he was on his deathbed. That sounds really. I don't think they would be allowed to go that dark. But what do I know? I don't know. It's been a while.
I thought it was like a Balto style, like terminal illness type thing.
I'm pretty sure he just had like the flu, or I'm pretty sure he was just sick, man. I don't think it was that severe. It's freaking me out even more about. I mean, rewatch. Here's the thing: it's always on. That episode's always on my mind, especially when we revisit something like this, because it's in the intro. It's in the catchy intro. They're like they're on the bloodstream. It's like they're floating on the bloodstream raft, and it's always in the at you. It's always there.
Oh god, yeah. It's not good. It's not good. I mean, uh, and just to talk about the show itself for a second, Dragon.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hate to say this, but I don't really think it holds up. I think Miss Frizzle definitely holds up for sure. I think she's a wonderful character.
She is. Miss Frizzle rocks, man. She does.
But the caveat of that, Dragon, the asterisk next to that, is I would wager to say that she is basically holding the weight of the entire cast on her shoulders, because I think these kid characters are boring.
Okay, let me put it to you this way. I feel, bear in mind, I want to put this in perspective. It's been ages since I've gone back to the Magic Schoolbus. I have my nostalgia is a lot more positive with the Magic Schoolbus, barring one episode in terms of, honestly, the only episode I can recall having real trauma with was that
okay, you can understand the fucking like Russian roulette quality to Inside Ralphie, right? Like the whole like like the 1 out of 10, it's not going to be Inside Ralphie and everything's going to be fine. But that or I'm sorry, the 9 out of 10 chance, but then the 1 out of 10 it is going to be Inside Ralphie, and I'm going to have to spend the next fucking 30 minutes in the bathroom. You think I'm exaggerating? You think I'm exaggerating? That's literally what my coping mechanism. Okay, Dragon. No, I'm serious. That's literally what my coping mechanism was when Inside Ralphie played. Is that I would pretend to be sick and I would go to the bathroom and fucking time it out for fucking 25 minutes. I am not making this up.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you had to watch, and then you had to go to the bed. That's what I was.
No. I'm saying to get out of watching it, I'd be like every time it came up, I'd be like, "Well, teacher, hall pass. I gotta go. See you in 25 minutes."
Gotcha.
Anyways.
So of course, well, first of all, just to address a couple things. Because Donovan's in the comments, and
yeah.
So first off, I just to bring in my nostalgia for the Magic Schoolbus on the whole, I too experienced it in the school system. I too did that. I think
most kids did.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how. It wasn't necessarily a rainy day sort of thing, but it would just kind of like they'd play in certain classes. Like, honestly, I saw a few key episodes in school. Then I would kind of catch it on TV, and later in time, and then basically just kind of drifted off for a long period of time, I guess. But now with the advent of Netflix, I can go back to it anytime I want, I suppose. Not the reboot, but I can go back to the original because I'm stubborn. Anyway, my point. No, all seriousness. My point. No, seriously, everyone, check out the new Carmen Sandiego. Forget my stubbornness on Magic Schools. Check out Carmen Sandiego, though. It's a really good one. Anyway,
Dragon, I heard that there's they are not paying their animators well on that show. I heard there's some controversy on that. Because
they are doing it. They are seriously. They are doing a bang up job on Carmen Sandiego. I can't say enough nice things about it.
Yeah, there's some politics involved in that show. I hate to say.
All right. Okay, we're getting back.
I don't want to cloud your opinion on it. But
okay, I'm going to bridge off of your word choice of cloud there, because of course for me the most memorable episode of all for Magic Schoolbus for me. I'm not saying it's the greatest episode. I'm saying the most nostalgic memorable for me is the weather episode, where Ralphie becomes like kind of the weather-based superhero. That whole thing.
Ralphie is like a lame TJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? He's like TJ with no personality or charm.
There's TJ from Recess for the kids out
yes. There. Basically, Dragon, the whole cast, it's like, I have so much more nostalgia for Recess. Like, Recess, in my opinion, is a perfect cartoon in a lot of ways. And, man, those are perfect kid characters. And these are just not good kid characters, even though they're the same basic token stereotypes for the most part.
Well, to this way, the kids in Magic Schoolbus are, I would argue, they're a mixture of Recess meets the Captain Planet kids. So they're
Captain Planet, definitely.
They're not as milquetoast as the Captain Planet kids, but again, they're like not exactly as kind of well rounded as the Recess character. They're kind of somewhere in between. And that's the thing. Honestly, though, I don't mind. I'll admit, on the rewatch, the kids don't hold up as well as they used to. Because they each of them have a shtick. They each have a shtick. But you know what? I don't mind.
I do not remember most of their names. I've got to admit, you're going to have to help me out with that throughout this thing.
My point is, I don't mind most of the shtick. I'll admit, shtick like Ralphie, like Ralphie's thing. That one, basically Ralphie's whole shtick was that he was very much kind of like he was the kind of the instigator of the group, not in a negative way, but he was the guy who's always into something that would then spark the adventure usually.
Like I said, lame TJ.
Pretty much. That's the thing, but Keisha was the straight man of the group, so to speak, and not very much. That was her role. I think she pretty much stayed true to her role. And Carlos is pretty much he's the '90s character. Carlos is like, oh, he's the Chandler in the making at Carlos.
Oh God, Chandler in the making.
But he is.
Arnold was very much the military brat, even though I don't think there was any like allusion to him being in the military. He was very much kind of an allusion to like the Squids and the Gusses of the world.
Oh yeah, very much, very Gus-like, very, very Gus-like.
Not Gus Fring, not Gus Fring.
Well, no, different Gus, folks. Different. I know you're all excited for tomorrow, but other Gus, different Gus.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that. Oh shit, that's dropping on midnight tonight, isn't it?
Hell yeah, if you're lucky on your side, in your neck of the woods, midnight. My neck of the woods, not so much midnight. Anyway, also Donovan points out that he actually Batman himself actually helped Donovan through his thing with bats, because initially he was a little frightened of bats, as most kids probably are, by bats, and of course over time gravitate towards. I echo Donovan's statement. Not that because of my attachment to Batman, I was never truly afraid of bats. Bear in mind, I'm not exactly spending time around bats all that often, so it might be a different story up close and personal. But I don't, basically, I imagine I don't have like a built-in. Tiki, in all of our time talking, I mean, aside from that one scene in Batman Begins, I don't think you've ever brought up that you had a thing against that.
I've brought up the Thunder Mountain story a few times. I just don't think you were on those podcasts. I know I brought it up during the Big Thunder Mountain episode of Q, the podcast. You weren't on for that one.
Because you'd imagine I remember if you brought up like kind of a bat-based phobia.
That's true. You would remember, yeah. I'm sure I brought it up before on the channel.
I believe that, and of course, in the mentioning of Big Thunder Mountain, sure, certainly. Yeah, we'll also take before we move on. I want to exit out a little thing at the bottom there.
I just noticed that.
Perfect. Okay.
You literally noticed it at the same time.
Yes. Anyway. All right, to the point being, a lot of love for the Magic Schoolbus, and it doesn't hold up quite as well, but still, I think for what it's doing, it's doing it's pretty good job.
I mean, here's the deal with this thing. It's an educational. It's pretty good education. I mean, that's what it is. It's very much like 1980s Ted Turner Epcot style edutainment. Dragon, it's just the interesting thing about this, like I said, is that it dives so deep into my fucking phobia. So that's why this is going to be a fun conversation.
And I'm very much in support of just that as an educational show what the Magic Schoolbus was doing. I really think it kind of hits the mark with the writing and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's. I mean,
Miss Frizzle is what every teacher should aspire to be.
Absolutely,
I will say that much.
I guess overall, what I'm trying to get is, I think Magic.
Dragon, I'm proud to say I've had some Miss Frizzles in my day.
I've had. Well, I mean, in terms of just kind of a literal Miss Frizzle kind of esque teacher, I've had one. Oh my goodness, she was one of the most glorious teachers I've ever had. One of the most.
Yep.
Wistful and fond, like the first grade teacher, man. She was the most lovely.
It's like you and I are both thinking of like the same like Mary Poppins style.
She was like the proto Farmiga, man. She was that good.
Oh God. All right.
Anyway, I'm saying she was like a really nice lady. Anyway.
Oddly enough, all the best teachers I had came out of high school and college. Weirdly,
I had good teachers. I'm just saying, like the one that was kind of like the Frizzle-esque, kind of the Frizzle generation.
Yeah.
Anywho, wistfulness aside, here, folks, let's get back on.
Freshly sharpened pencils on the first day of school.
Precisely.
Freshly sharpened pencils on the first day of school.
My point
is podcast is now ASMR.
Okay, my point is just to acknowledge it again. I think it's something to be said for the Magic Schoolbus. That, I mean, one, it's been brought back for a reason, because it puts something really positive into the world, especially within the educational system. So definitely got some really powerful kind of scholastic legacy there. And speaking of scholastic, of course,
Scholastic Book Fair, of course.
A little fun fact, of course, you had the books that were adapted into the animation, so it's kind of a fun thing you have with Magic Schoolbus.
Here's the thing, though, Dragon. I don't know about you, but I feel like by the time that we were involved in the Scholastic Book Fairs, I feel like, well, I'm a little older than you, so I was probably a little more grown out of the books. Like, by the time the Scholastic Book Fairs came around, for me, it was all about, like Lemony Snicket and Calvin and Hobbes and Captain Underpants and stuff like that. Did you ever get the Magic Schoolbus books when you were going to the book fairs, the proverbial legendary book fairs?
I gotta be honest, I mean, I know I've seen those books. I don't. Honestly, if I saw them, I think they were starting to phase out a little bit by the time I really saw them there. But I think I've seen them. They're definitely on a bookmobile experience at some juncture, at least.
They do come in from time to time at my work as well, so that's cool.
Okay. All right, folks. Of
I
course,
believe Inside Ralphie came into my work once.
Oh god, it's gonna be like it's like the books following it. There's like a Stephen King movie in the making. Just gonna wanders into the workplace one day, and you can't sell it off. You can't get rid of it. Ends up like, you know what, faithful employee. Here you go. And of course, the boss is pushing on you. You can't say no because it's a gift. Like, here, take it home. It's thanks. And you're gonna have that moment. So, I mean, remember that book? I remember how much you like the nostalgic things. And I gave you that book, and I just want you to know I appreciate you, and we have that shared moment together. And it's gonna be you'll never be able to get rid of it because of that guilt you'll have. And it's always gonna be there.
Wow.
It'll be staring at you. That sort of.
Okay, wow, you just went off on we just went on a journey there, Dragon. I appreciate that. All
anyway,
right.
I can't tell you what your fate on that story is going to be, but let's just keep going. Maybe you don't want to know what happens in the next chapter. Anywho, getting back on the point here, let's break it down. Let's go through the episode here. Let's talk about. Finally,
we start with bats hanging in trees. The thing I don't like about this in terms of my phobia is that they're just chilling in broad daylight in the suburbs where they shouldn't be. There shouldn't be fucking that many bats in a suburban neighborhood like that. I don't like it.
Unless it's Gotham, there should not be that many bats in a localized area.
That's what I'm saying. All right, and that's just the first shot, Dragon. That's literally the first shot of the episode, and I'm already on edge.
All right, so anyway, so we transition from basically we have kind of like a day to night sort of transition here because the idea is night's going to play a big role in the episode. So, of course, we have the transition to night, and while it's night, we see the kids getting their project ready. And of course, we have this it's a great looking project too, man. These kids, they really come together on these things, man. They're really they're putting the elbow grease into this project. They have,
I feel like they have a little bit of an advantage with Frizzle as their teacher and like a magic, like God knows what Izzy is at their disposal.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lizzie? Is it Lizzie or
Liz.
Izzy?
It's
Liz.
Yeah, sorry. It's Liz for short. I guess Lizzie in the kind of the more formalized version of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Sorry. It's been a while, folks. Been a while.
Point being, they have this really kind of great fake tree going on there. They've decorated, they put in like stars in the background for the whole nocturnal. Basically, it's like a nocturnal exhibit. So it's not Halloween related per se, but again, bats. But
sadly, this is not a proper Halloween episode.
Importantly, though, we are demystifying. Darn it, we are demysticizing the the grand the grand Halloween icon in the vampires. That's there's kind of a Halloween basis for the episode, just not real Halloween. It's Halloween. It's not exactly that going on.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Haunted Mansion wasn't really Halloween either.
There you go. Okay,
we're still Ghost Bride, to tell you the truth.
There we go. We're still in theme. All right.
Hell, are any of the things that we're talking about? Well,
why would you bring that up? Why would you bring that revelation on here now?
There's a couple. There's at least 2 or 3 that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yes, well, one literally has it in the name for the town.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, more on that later. Anyway, getting back on point. Point being, they're getting ready for a little nocturnal. Basically, there's a parent-teacher conference. I love that Miss Frizzle does a parent-teacher conference in style. She has like a little project going on. She's had them over at night. It's a classy affair with Miss Frizzle, man. She knows how to.
God damn it, Dragon. Do you remember when, like, showing your parent your classroom used to be an exciting endeavor?
Yeah, I remember when it used to be a thing. It used to be kind of an event, I don't know if they call it like a parents' day, but it used to be a thing where they invite them in. It was kind of like a spectacle.
It'd almost kind of be like you're letting them into your world. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, Mom and Dad, this is what I do all day. Aren't I the shit?
Yep. Anyway, so let's see. Of course,
help me out on some of these names here, Dragon.
All right, so Arnold's a little nerd.
Arnold.
I'm getting we want to get to the whole bunch.
By the way, hold on. Let's pause this really quick because I meant to bring this up during childhood nostalgia.
Yes.
I think I wasn't really personally affected by it that much, but I think one of the most iconic scares in this series comes in the Moon episode when Arnold takes off his helmet. Do you remember that?
Right, when he takes off, I'm sorry, you say that he takes
I
off the
think it's
helmet?
like a fantasy. It's like a fantasy sequence. It's like a what if scenario or something.
Hmm.
But basically, Arnold's like, he's speculating like, hey guys, this helmet's uncomfortable. I wonder what would happen if it just took it off. And then it flashes to that, and we see him like take off the helmet. We see one of the kids yell, just Arnold,
Ah,
no!
right, basically it's a Total Recall moment there. Right?
Yes. And his fucking face just like goes like all chrome and shatters.
Yeah, freezing in space, right. Oh, God.
Right.
Basically, he went the way of Yondu, essentially.
Dragon, that's the thing. This show is not afraid to go body horror. It really isn't.
To be fair, though, again, very smartly, in Thought Bubble. In Thought Balloon.
Oh, God. All right. Back to the episode. Sorry.
Okay, so point being, Arnold's nervous, as he tends to be. We see, but of course, basically Arnold being nervous, basically his usual self here is a very kind of Gus-esque self, if you want to, Gus Griswold-esque self.
Let's just call him Griswold for the sake of prosperity here.
Anyway, so then of course, in mentioning this while they're all getting ready for the project, coming up from behind Arnold is Ralphie with the Dracula mask. So again, definitely with a vampire mask. I love how it's emoting with him too in the animation.
I'm cool because I wear a T-shirt with the first letter of my name on it.
But you really have it out for this kid, man. Now, I'll remind you, I was waiting to bring this up too. So
I have it out for him because he's the star factor of one of the most deep-seated things of childhood trauma of my whole childhood, Dragon. So yes, I do.
Well, again, let me in case you've forgotten, old friend of mine, let me re-deepen the wound there for you. So of course you've actually spent some time with Ralphie recently in kind of a not literal sense, but kind of in a film sense here, because remember Ralphie is voiced by Stuart Stone, or Stu Stone for short, who is the star and director of that documentary. You suggested for me that we have both watched Jack of All Trades. That's Ralphie.
No,
that's Ralphie, the kid who went on that really great self-discovery.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah, that's Ralphie.
Okay.
So again, folks, Jack of All Trades on Netflix. Check it out if you want to see Ralphie, who's also done a lot of voice work.
Why couldn't he have just directed Screwball? I wouldn't have cared.
Very touching, and you know what Cena gets to in that third act, man. I'm saying that's every time you insult the letter, man, think of that scene.
Oh God! All right.
Anyway, the point being, Ralphie is very into vampires, and of course, this vampire comic of late.
He's got this like knockoff Bela Lugosi mask, and I like how the lips somehow move on the mask.
Absolutely. Of course, he's got kind of bats and vampires on the brain. Of course, that's kind of the big connect to the episode, Bats versus Vampires. The old, vampires can transform into bats. The old vampire bat kind of connected all there. It's kind of our starting point of things Ralphie has put into play. The kids are then going to set up in an attic, and which of course does make me raise the question: wait, they have an attic in a school? What sense is that?
I know, right?
They
Why have we not seen this before?
I mean, the intro has a guy having them being baked into a pie. I'm sold. Let's see where I'll give him some credit.
Wait, the intro has them baked into. Okay, yet another fucking instance of horrifying body horror.
Or no,
what the hell?
It's the catchiest part of the theme song. Get baked into a pie on the Magic Schoolbus.
Okay, I don't care if it's catchy. That's the idea of literally getting baked alive into a pie is horrifying.
Remember, they're inside the bus. It's fine. The bus is.
I don't care if they're inside the bus. The bus is like a fucking giant. Dragon, do you see? I told you. I warned you. This fucking show, man. This show.
I knew you were going to have this. I didn't know it was going to be like with everything. That's what Oh, God. I mean, the baked into the pie is like the most happy-go-lucky part.
I don't like the baked into the pie. I really don't.
A chef with a big poofy hat and everything. It's like, it's perfectly comical. Anyway. Okay, anyway. Okay, so pies
I'm just saying this show has some really weird existential body horror themes going on, and I don't like it.
Okay, anyway, point being the kids go into the attic, which apparently exists. Let's see. Of course, we hear, alas, children, the moment you waited for is here. Is like Miss Frizzle kind of doing her thing, kind of building things up here. And we have this, let's see, of course, things are a little dark in the attic right here. Things are a little dark in the attic. Say, oh man, I need a flashlight. Of course, we're a little bit of setup later for echolocation. Let's see, Wanda finds a bat in the school attic.
Which one is Wanda? Is Wanda the blonde?
Wanda's the girl in the red and the pink.
Oh my god. Jesus, I can't keep these names straight for the life of me.
You know, for someone who's so traumatized, you think you know the names better. But again, it's been a while. I won't fault
There's
you
a
for
thing
that.
called Repression Dragon.
Right, forgot. Okay. Point being, honestly, there's only one I blanked. I gotta tell you, I'm surprised myself. I kind of kept up with the kids with the exception of one. One kid eluded my grasp, but I had to double check it. And we never mentioned her name in the episode, which didn't help, which is
Is
why I
it the
had to.
blonde one?
Yeah, it's Dorothy Ann. Dorothy Ann's completely blanked my
That's
mind.
her name? Dorothy Ann? Jesus.
Apparently, Dorothy Ann. I gotta be honest. I'm just gonna sound harsh. Not as harsh as you're being the Ralph. As harsh as I'm gonna get to one of these kids. I gotta tell you, Dorothy seems to be the most free. Basically, she's kind of a Sally knockoff. It's kind of like Sally meets the girl from Captain Planet. It's kind of what she is.
Wait. Sally from the Peanuts?
Yes, Sally from the Peanuts meets.
But Sally from the Peanuts has a personality.
I'm saying a mix. Hence the not. It's not just Sally. So she's got like a.
Just like T.J. Detweiler has a personality.
All right, but you see what I'm getting at. Point. I think Dorothy Ann's very forgettable in this episode. Basically, she's the girl with the book. That's her role in the episode. Girl with the book.
I mean,
Okay.
honestly, I think most people in this episode are forgettable. Besides the adults, are very entertaining.
Anyway, so we meet. We meet. Sorry, we don't meet. Phoebe thinks it's cute. Which, by the way, I gotta tell you, I really liked Phoebe. I don't know why. Phoebe just seemed really nice.
Which one is Phoebe?
The one with the blind father. Tiki. The one with the Phoebe.
I'm sorry.
Girl in the red and the yellow. One in the red and the yellow.
All right. Thanks. All
and the yellow with the reddish brown hair. I don't know. Anyway.
Again, like she has a blind father. That's about all we know about her as a person.
Anyway, so
it's
Phoebe
kind of
thinks,
like the Patty Mayonnaise effect.
Anyway, Phoebe thinks the bat's cute. Dorothy Ann says, "Oh, we know so little about bats," which basically communicates the whole fear message of the whole piece there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. So then it takes flight, and then Ralphie is hiding behind Keisha. To avoid becoming a vampire. So again, that's kind of where we're starting things here. Okay, we're very misinformed about bats at the start of things, as we tend to do on the Magic Schoolbus. We want to learn about things. That's the operative purpose of the show. So, it says, "Oh, come on, turning into a vampire is as likely as," and of course, just ... grand entrance of Miss Frizzle hanging upside down as a bat. And my favorite thing about Miss Frizzle. I love her outfits, man. I think she's the most stylish character I've ever seen in anything.
She is so Farmiga-esque. It's ridiculous.
I love how Farmiga dresses, but again, the original in that case would be a Miss Frizzle in terms of.
Dragon, I'm going to throw you something that you're going to love, all right?
All right.
So you know how I thought that Dora in the Lost City of Gold was unexpectedly charming because of how self-aware it was?
Yeah.
Do the same thing with Magic Schoolbus, Vera Farmiga as Frizzle, and just have it totally self-aware of how ridiculous it is.
Oh God, that'd be wonderful. Would be. I'd be there in an instant. Again, whether I'm sure there'd be an outcry like, "How dare you do it in live action?" I'm saying, who cares, man? It's
okay, you know what? It can't be any more offensive than the new stuff that they have.
That's what I'm saying, guys. It's Miss Frizzle in live action, assumingly they get someone good to play Miss Frizzle. Anyway. Of course, let's see. Of course, Miss Frizzle, by the way, voiced by the wonderful
her earrings, Dragon. Her bat earrings.
Yeah. Of course, Miss Frizzle.
But yes, Lily Tomlin, definitely. Like you don't really you go through your life hearing this voice, and you don't really attach it to this famous actress. So that was kind of a surprise.
Yep, Aunt May from Spider-Verse, Miss Frizzle as well. Yeah, for the kids. All right. Why don't you take us through some of this?
Okay, so yeah, Frizzle is just kind of just going through her little monologue about bats, like, "Oh, of all the night flyers, the master's the bat," and then Ralphie's just like, "Gulp. That's just the kind of thing a vampire would say," and then we just get this ridiculous thought bubble of Frizzle just with the vampire fangs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Ralphie, you've been reading too many comic books. All right, so Frizzle basically is going to set up, like you said, she's going to set up the secrets of being nocturnal. When you're a creature of the night, you wear the color of the night, so you won't be seen by your enemies.
Yes, and you also feed at night, and of course, we're kind of translating this all translating to the ambiance, as kind of vampire ambiance to Ralphie. He's not seeing this just like a lesson in nocturnal bats. It's like, oh God, it's stuff that also relates to vampires because you feed in the night. You're gonna suck blood at night, man.
I mean, to be fair, Creature of the Night is a pretty on-the-nose Dracula reference. Just
Yeah,
saying.
but it is a creature and it is nocturnal, therefore at night. But the point being, she's having fun with it. Again, I think honestly, of course, given kind of our end beat with Miss Frizzle in this episode, again, she knows what's going on here. I think this whole time she's doubling down on the Lugosi factor. She's doing the Transylvanian accent, doing the whole 9 yards. She's doing all that to demystify the point. Like she's communicating that to the most ardent of vampire believers in Ralph. Like she knows. I think she's doing this all intentionally.
Okay, I gotta bring this up, Dragon. Have you heard the Harry Potter theory with Frizzle?
I got nothing. No.
It's totally ridiculous fan fiction, but I kind of love it. Basically, the theory is that Miss Frizzle is like a wayward Hogwarts teacher who escaped Hogwarts and is now like kind of just teaching students in America with this crazy magic bus, and she's kind of on the run from the wizarding police. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that's
stupid.
All right. Pretty much.
I just wanted to bring it up because it is a popular fan theory with the show these days. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, let's see. So the parents arrive, and by the way, I got to tell you. So the kids, the parents of the children, to my knowledge, bear in mind, I don't even know if I've ever seen every episode of Magic Schools. I've seen a good sized handful of episodes. And all those episodes, I don't really think I've ever seen this one. If I saw this one, it's one I barely remember because I don't remember ever meeting the parents. And that was a really great, interesting look at them. And of course, they got a really solid cast playing the parents in this.
Yeah. Like you said, it kind of offers a kind of like different dimensions to the family life. You know, kind of a different shade to the characters for sure.
So we meet Keisha's grandma, who's played by the ever wonderful Eartha Kitt.
Oh yes, gotta love it.
Yzma herself. Let's see. Then of course,
did you hear that? Mrs. Frizzle wants to eat Keisha's grandmother.
Of course, like I could eat you up being misinterpreted by Ralphie.
I also heard that Amanda Bynes doesn't like dill pickles.
God. Okay, now we meet one parent I do actually remember because she's in the Ralphie, you know, the one where we go inside Ralphie, Doctor's mom. We meet his mom, Dr. Tonelli. So we do meet his mother.
Oh, son of a bitch! Oh, I remember her. Oh God. I mean, I'm sure she's a pleasant woman, Dragon, but it's just like childhood trauma.
Right, because that's what you want to hold against them, right? Anyway, so we meet Dr. Tonelli, played by Tyne Daly.
Oh, nice.
So basically, you know, she's Ralphie, you know, stop it. You stop being a pain. I hope Ralphie hasn't been being a pain in the neck.
And then Frizzle's just totally into the vampire thing, and she's like, "Yes, Ralphie, I love to have you under my wing."
So again, she absolutely knows what she's doing here. She's having fun with him. That Miss Frizzle rocks, man. That's the ultimate teacher right there. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
It'd be great if it's Miss Frizzle and Mary Poppins just hung out from time to time. How awesome would that be?
That's a fan theory I can get behind.
Again, they are literary darlings. You know, they both existed in fiction. You know, they could mingle. I don't know.
They can mingle.
They can mingle, you know. I don't know. You know, they gotta maybe
they're single and ready to mingle.
Okay, well, maybe I'm thinking more like, you know, like Poppins he's getting tea and Miss Frizzle's getting some coffee somewhere. That's what I was thinking.
I don't think there's anything to indicate in either version that Poppins or Frizzle are attracted to men. Just saying.
Well, I mean, you're right. I'm just saying. I don't know why it has to be romantic. I'm just saying, why can't they just meet each other and be friends? I don't know. Anyway, point being,
because everything has to be coded like that these days.
Okay. Anyway, point being, literary icons and what they do when they're off hours aside. Let's get back in point here. So the gang collectively at the beginning here, they're vetoing the idea of the frizz. I love how they call her the frizz. I completely forgot we call her the frizz. I don't know why I forgot that because I should have known that, but they call her the frizz. Like, there's no way the frizz is a vampire. She's our teacher. And this is the thing. Phoebe's kind of like, I don't know, she has like kind of the simple heart of the group. She's our teacher, therefore she cannot be a vampire. She, this Phoebe here is really kind of nice and kind of optimistic. I don't know, something kind of gravitated with me. It's been years, folks. I'm re-experiencing it yet again. So it says, well, yeah, but what does she do at night? So then we get some bat facts. Basically, we check out some bat facts in the book that keep tracking so far, and the fact she's Anyway, the point being, wanted
them to be there for after dark, so that because that's when Bat's feed, essentially, is After Dark.
Exactly. So basically, Ralphie's misinterpreting everything that's going on here. We're basically, why did you want our parents here?
It's such a Rugrats scenario, Dragon. It's such a Rugrats scenario, and I love it.
Yeah, they were like, why did you want our parents here after dark? Which I gotta tell you is kind of a valid question. Why is it after dark? But I love that we have this really great rational explanation.
It's after dark because it's in the fall and it fucking gets dark at like 4:30 and parents have work. That's why it's after dark. I say this as someone who works outside, all right?
And to be honest, I completely forgot about that. Oh, yeah, well, it does get really dark comparatively, but yeah, you're right. Point is, it's, it's... because they work during the day, which is just a great.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I love how staunch a defense it is for the parents because they're working every day, little mister. They're busting their homes for us. All right, so essentially,
as a working man myself,
Miss Frizzle, she's taking the parents on a field trip, which again to me is so apropos. Like, oh god, the kids aren't even going on a field trip at the start of this thing, man. What are we doing? You're breaking the law. You're breaking the law of the series, man.
Dragon. In other words.
Hit him with it.
We're breaking new ground. No, but seriously, this is kind of like a cool change up. It's like, oh my god, the adults are going on a field trip. What is this?
But again, you think there's almost like a Dr. Seuss cat in a hat logic. Like if they told them what happened during the day, they would never believe them.
right.
But again, we're kind of breaking that rule where they're experiencing it, man. I mean, short of now that I think it. I gotta be honest, something did just occur to me. How did they? Oh, man, you have the episode. Well, tell me this: where do they board to get from point A to point B? Because they don't get on the bus.
Yeah, they get on the bus.
No. I mean, they don't. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. They're getting on the bus.
See, I feel so stupid because I just realized. Initially, I said a moment because I assumed, yeah, of course they went on the bus. I realized the kids get on the bus later on, but I forgot about.
Miss Frizzle's like helping the blind man onto the bus.
Yeah, because they get from point A to point B, and I forgot the awesome way in which they get from point A to point B, which is they get on the bat cycle, man. Not that bat cycle.
Oh my god, yes, that is pretty cool.
That's the thing, like, oh my goodness, I love Tiki. You know me, I'm a sucker because my love for the 8-seater DeLorean. I'm a sucker for multi-seaters, man. I am.
Oh yeah.
I am, and of course, there's also.
I love how there's like two long sidecars on either side.
Of course, the bat cycle in itself, the classic one I'm thinking of with the Batman's bat cycle, of course, is I'm a sucker for a bat-based vehicle, as you can probably imagine already, as a vehicle nut that I am, but a multi-seater bat cycle, man. And the Lizard gets to drive it. That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet.
All right.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm drifting off, and I'm drooling over the vehicle right now. Anyway, point being. The kids follow in Liz's bat cycle as, of course, we're helping Phoebe's blind father. Again, the fact that Phoebe has a blind father, too, is kind of neat, too. I don't know, it's like it's different, It's like we wouldn't do this sort of stuff at a certain point in time. That we're starting to shake things up.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think the best thing, I'm not even saying this is like a derivative thing. I think the best example is probably Patty Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Because her dad was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That is a better example. But that's the thing. Yeah, I like that we're breaking that. One could say we're breaking new ground with that sort of stuff.
All right. Let's not overplay
the
break new ground thing.
You're right. Let's not wear it out. Let's
Everyone only gets one.
You're right. We'll put it back on the shelf. Fair point. All right, a point being, I like a lot of good pleasantries going on here with all this too. By the way, I love they all have their personalized helmets when they get on the bat cycle too, which is really neat. They'll have like letters on their heads, just like how Ralphie wears his letter on his shirt. They all have like letters on their helmets. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So Keisha, she's very skeptical of Ralphie. It's kind of their back and forth. These two characters very historically have kind of the back and forth. The more kind of the fantasy boy versus kind of the real practical girl. It's kind of their back and forth.
Just kind of like gender stereotypes at work.
Sure. Let's see.
I do really love this haunted castle aesthetic that we go to.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to mention my favorite of all the casting of the parents real quick. The Pearlsteins, Arnold's parents. Arnold's father is voiced by one of my all-time favorites. I love when he shows up in animation, Elliot Gould. Man, I love that.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Of course, Ron Stoppel's father from Kim Possible.
Right.
He's Rabbi Katz also. He does all. Elliot Gould. Of course, the Ocean's movie, many people know him from. I love when Elliot Gould shows up. so good. He's in Ray Donovan. Anyways, I'm going on the Gold Love Fest here, but I love how misinformed they are. Oh, are these the field trips Arnold's always talking about? Says, yes, he's very eager to get on them. Of course, Miss Frizzle having fun. Like Arnold's always the most reluctant to get on the field trip. That's quite fun. So yes, we're on a creepy old abandoned haunted castle. And of course, one could think haunted castle. In reality, it's an abandoned castle, which is perfect for bats.
Oh yeah. All right, so a bunch of bats fly out as a result. The kids are kind of waiting in the bushes, seeing what's going on.
It's basically that even though Keisha's kind of downplaying all this, the fact that something might happen to her grandmother, she's like, okay, yeah, let's follow him just to be on the safe side.
And Ralphie's being very, he's just kind of calling it like it is. Like, what kind of person would bring all our parents to a place full of bats? I'm with you, Ralphie. Bats are evil and a sin. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a
not
sin.
Batman. I just want to reemphasize, not Batman. Batman's cool, but just the flying rodent that is a bat, not cool. All right.
I'm amazed you got through On Leather Wings. I mean, I got to go back and see like how you reacted to that. Now I know this whole bat thing about you. I never knew. Oh, God.
I'm sure that I mentioned something about it kind of getting under my... Like, I'm sure the transformations got to me.
That's what I'm saying. I know you had probably mentioned it in past. I would have assumed that, oh, yeah, because the scene is really supposed to be creepy. You were really freaked out by it, as many people were supposed to. But I didn't know, like, oh, God, it's on a whole nother level. I didn't know that.
Dragon, you know what freaks me out is, like, I don't even like rats, and fucking bats have wings and they're basically rats, and to me that's kind of an abomination of nature.
Well, I know what musical not to take you to from Hey Arnold.
Rats. I also don't like things with more than 4 legs. I really don't at all. That's way too many moving parts for one brain to control.
Hey, we have a really good quote in the comments here I'd like to share real quick.
Okay.
The Frizzle quote.
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
Take chances, that one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is a shout out because Don's brought up one of the great quotes from the series that I believe came from Miss Frizzle. If I read, they got recycled. I got recycled a lot. One of my favorite episodes of that weather episode. So I take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. That is one of the ultimate quotes from the series, man. It's everything about learning, about true learning, man. It's awesome.
And Donovan, he's pointing out like bats are misunderstood, and I think they're pretty cute. Yeah, but I mean. Some of them, I don't know. No, they're icky and filled with diseases.
But on the plus side, they do eat all the moths.
I don't like them. All right,
I really anyway. Don't. Okay, so someone's not becoming Batman the Nolan sense anytime soon. Here,
they're flying rats. What's to like about them?
Okay. Anyway, getting back on point here, if we may. All right, let's see. So, as the kids are observing outside, they're continuing the vampire debate again. Ralph and Keisha. Let's see. Basically, we have this. There's like a door gag or something.
The doorknobs break off of the castle, like literally, right. Just like, now what? Womp, womp, womp. And Arnold's like, okay, now we can go back to school.
Yep, and of course, it's never going to be that easy, Arnold. Haven't you learned by now? You're in season 2, darn it.
Come on, Griswold.
Okay, anyway. So let's see. So then we have, this is great. We have the blood toast, and basically looking through those spines of the windows. God. So importantly, the reason the knobs break off is because obviously they were inside the place. Then we'd have like a whole variety. Well, then they'd be easily discovered or something would go. The point being, them being on the outside but not quite being inside is kind of the perfect place to stage our action here, and they get inside.
Again, Miss Frizzle kind of dropping the creatures of the night thing again.
Yep, you have this awesome. May we all fly together. And of course, they're toasting what to them seems like blood.
Dragon, I got to admit, it sounds like a bat cult. If I were to just listen in on that with no context, sounds like a bat cult.
I can verify there are actually
a Batman cult, a flying rodent cult.
I've seen both of those two. I got to admit that. My point is, there.
Wait, what bat cult have you seen?
Well, okay, I was getting at originally. So there are actually vampire cults, though. I'm not saying they're actual vampires. I'm saying people who are obsessed with the whole vampire fad of it all. It's not pleasant.
Yeah, I've met a couple people like that online. They're
That's what I'm saying.
interesting
I'm talking about
folks.
goth either. I'm talking about next level goth where they actually they flirt with the actual idea of drinking blood. It's really weird.
Right. I get what you're throwing down. Anyways,
Anyway,
so we get
yeah,
a great painting of the castle that kind of like flashes to stimulate lighting. I thought that was a really nice piece of animation.
it is. So anyway, so they're all toasting what they think is blood here. Of course, what it actually is tomato juice. Now, I love they couldn't say wine; they had to say tomato
It's
juice.
totally wine, dude. It's totally wine.
Yeah, but obviously they couldn't get away with that, so they had to say tomato juice. But also, I think if there's any practical story purpose, but I think it's more of a censorship thing. But if it
There's
was,
no way that Miss Frizzle is going to drive all these grown ass adults to the middle of a haunted castle and not fucking serve them wine. All
but I'm
right.
saying if this is in the book, from the beginning they knew okay, I can't have wine in the book, so again I gotta go with tomato juice. So the point being, I don't know if it's entirely a network thing. I think it has to
It's a
be if
smoothie situation, Dragon. It's got to be a smoothie
that
situation.
exactly that's the thing. So regardless, the point
And
is,
honestly, it's like I don't even think it's that dark. Like the smoothie thing is dark. This is just like, yeah, of course the adults would want to unwind. You know, it's a social gathering. I don't know.
certainly,
I don't see
regardless, I
any
mean,
harm with it.
if there's any additional thing they wrung out of it is the fact that tomato juice that was served on a class picnic. Therefore, but again, you could always say the parents were served one on the class picnic. Doesn't matter. The point being, regardless, the point being tomato. They're all drinking tomato juice.
God.
Not the red wine, but
Tomato
tomato juice.
juice in wine glasses, might I
Yep, yep.
add.
That's the thing. That's where you get all the suspect nature of things. They were, yeah, we had tomato. So honestly, if you really
I
want to
mean,
be
Miss
cynical,
Frizzle was like 2 steps away from like pulling us sideways and putting her nose up to the glass and sniffing it.
here's the thing: if you want to be really cynical about things, you could infer that look, like they've tasted the tomato juice too. What are we saying about Miss Frizzle's teaching
Oh
methods?
God! Oh no!
If you want to take the cynical approach, I would say you would
Dragon, no
mind.
wonder their field trips are so surreal and trippy.
Okay,
Oh
but in all
God!
seriousness, let's just mine from what it is here. We're okay. They all had
Yeah,
tomato juice.
this is a dangerous rabbit hole we could climb
Okay,
down
in all
right
seriousness, the
now.
point being they had tomato juice and they've ruled out blood. That's the important takeaway here. Anyway,
All right.
so
Man, that's such a weird right around, man.
anyway, so
And give me back my book.
as we're saying, basically, like see, it's a vampire. The only way to stop a vampire teacher is to drive a textbook through the
I
heart.
don't
That's
like how
really
many bats are in this castle. I'm just pointing that out. I don't.
it is a really funny line, that whole textbook.
There's way too many of them. There's way
Oh,
too many of them.
Key focus. Let's keep it linear, may we?
Oh God! All right.
Freak out when we actually get to all the bats. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
My point is, it was like you're driving.
I honestly don't know how I can endure Calico Mine Ride because that ride's filled with bats, but they're fake bats, and I know they're fake, and I know these are just cartoons, but they're animated to be living and breathing, and that's what's unsettling. All right.
Anyway, so again, driving a textbook through the teacher's heart gag aside, we have like Carlos concurring, like, bloodsuckers. Like, yeah, you see them too? He says, no, it's mosquitoes. All these mosquitoes and bugs around the place, which again is set up for kind of our demystifying the bat thing later on. And then the bats swarm. Now the bats are swarming the place. Basically, they're swarming the place to get the little bloodsucker mosquitoes. Phoebe points out, oh, they want the mosquitoes. They're eating the bugs. That's what they're doing here. Okay, so again, we're trying to say, no, the bats aren't going for the people. They're going for the bugs. Therefore, they're essentially harmless. At least the variety of bat that's in this episode, which they're going to call themselves on by the end of things. We'll get there.
I want to address Donovan really quick. Have you guys ever watched The Lost Boys? I've been obsessed with it. Dragon, any thoughts on The Lost Boys?
Yeah, for this point, I don't really. I know what the Lost Boys is, but I never really gravitated towards me, so I never really.
Okay, here's the thing. I want to watch The Lost Boys at some point. It's just I can never get past the movie looks pretty dated to me with the fashion and everything. But the reason why I want to watch it is because of the Santa Cruz factor. Because a lot of the movie, much like Us, a lot of the movie was shot around the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk. So that's kind of one of the reasons I want to give it a watch.
Well, I mean,
Anyway,
unless I've been misconstruing it all these years, it is a horror movie, right?
Yes, it is. It's about vampires. It's
That's
about
the
like
main
suburban
reason.
teenage vampires living in Santa Cruz.
That's the main reason I never got to it too. I'm not a deep. I love documentaries about horror, but I can't really stomach the true bloody horror of it all. That's just me.
The true bloody horror.
Yes.
This is the bloody horror right here.
Okay. Anyway. All right. The point being, let's
Look
see.
how many bats there are, Dragon. I envy the fucking blind guy because he doesn't have to see them all. How is Ralphie's mom just casually strolling along? I would literally not be able to handle it.
I like that they're all wearing galoshes, by the way, again because Miss Frizzle didn't want to ruin their nice shoes, presumably. So they're all wearing galoshes as they walk through the as basically we had pointed out the bat guano.
Yes.
I think, of course,
makes excellent fertilizer.
Yeah, which I like that she's always seen the bright side of things. Yeah, it's gross, but it makes excellent fertilizer. Nocturnal fertilizer. You never know. All right, so let's see. So, of course, why is it so muggy in here?
Tell me this doesn't get under your skin. Tell me this doesn't get under your skin, motherfucker.
Do you mean the joke?
No, I mean the breath of a billion bats.
You know what's creepy about it though? Because here's the thing: I never thought of it that way, but it makes sense. Basically, when he says like it's stuffy in here, it's just the breath of a billion bats. It's a creepy line, but it's also like, it makes
That
sense.
Line makes my skin crawl. That line makes my fucking skin crawl.
That's the creepy factor is the fact that it makes sense for if they're all combined. There, of course, the breath's probably going to heat up. I
can't handle that. I can't handle that. I can't handle being surrounded by so many living things that I don't like at the same time. That's just not okay.
Anyway, so good. Bat breath better than no breath at all, says Carlos's father. I love that we continue the gag with Carlos. I love the parents doing it. In Carlos's case, his father looks very much like him, and of course, like Mr. Ramon.
He basically looks like Aladdin, like a professional Aladdin.
What's his day job, apparently? Anyway, no, seriously, I do love just kind of like repair loan the kids' experience on a field trip too.
The grandma's just like, oh, good little big babies. They look like, no. These are even worse. Are
you even going to be able to make it through this
I don't know. We haven't even got into the horrifying body horror implications yet.
That's what I'm saying, man. You're...
anyway, they're all pink and fetusy.
All right, hold on the feet. All right, put a mini pin in the fetus, just so you know, like the parallels to the kids and the parents on their field trip experience here.
God, and one of them is like fucking sucking the mother's bat teeth. Oh no, why?
Okay, they're saying it, but they're not showing it, so don't get that excited.
Yeah, bullshit. They're not showing it. I'm looking at it right now.
God. Anyway,
I do sometimes.
Anyway,
this is why I really don't like rabbits.
I'll remind you picked this episode too. I'm going to remind you that.
No, I wanted to do Inside Ralphie, and frankly, Inside Ralphie might be less traumatizing.
That would have been scary to us. It's like, anyway. Okay, anyway, the point being, yes, we're pointing out the actual children of the night with the bat babies, getting their milk, and basically we establish here they're getting milk, not blood. You know, that's the point made to the kids. All right, let's see. So, let's see. Of course, there are more tidbits. There are probably some. Basically, Miss Frizzle, she's on to like the fact that the kids are outside, but she's not saying that because she's a cool teacher, man. She doesn't want to harsh the adventure, like kind of halt everything. Says, basically, we hear the kids kind of going back and forth. Like, I can look into the window if I want, because they're basically trying to duck down for stealth reasons. Cannot, which leads to like nothing. It sounds like Keisha out there too. No, it's just some tidbits going on out there. She's gonna eat kid bits, man. We gotta get out of here. It's basically a misunderstanding from Ralphie freaks everybody out.
That's also a little. I mean, I'm not like that freaked out about it, but it's a little terrifying. Just kid cannibalism.
Yep. Just
casually dropped on the show.
True.
I don't know.
Anyway, so Ralphie then tries to drive the bus out. I gotta get out of here. But he ends up pushing the wrong button. Folks, either let Miss Frizzle drive or the Lizard drive. Those are the only two people who can drive the Magic Schoolbus, man.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently. So Ralphie pushes a button which does not go well, or he pushes the bat button, which leads to an awesome transfer. T, I know there's a fear of bats, but tell me, the bus isn't a body horror thing, right?
Oh yes, it is.
Really? Because I thought it was really cool looking. The fact the bus turns into
The
a bat.
bus is a body horror thing.
It's a cool looking design, man.
Okay, I don't like the fact that it's a literal, like, I don't like that it's furry. Dragon, you know what it reminds me of? And
This is another
thing that a lot of people love, but I hate. Cat Bus.
Cat bust?
Cat Bus from My Neighbor Totoro.
Right. Sorry. Oh, I got you. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Dragon, that's one of those things where it's like I can handle seeing it in plush form, but when I see it animated, I don't. Dragon, I don't like the idea of being inside. Like this kind of is like it's a little bit of a, I don't know, it's a little bit of a bypass from the carnivorous plants thing, where I really don't like the idea of being inside the stomach of a living thing. And this is, they're inside the stomach of, I mean, granted, I know that the school bus is always living per se, but I don't like that it has fur. I don't like that it's to scale with an actual mouse fucking bat thing. I don't like it. I really don't. Well, anyway, but you know what I do like is I do like the point of view. That's cool.
Yes, that is
the whole Sonic vision. I'll give them points for that.
All right, so of course the kids' field trip begins, and yes, that's one of my favorite things in the whole episode too. I love the pinging, the fact that we see the bus. Of course, the bus being animated, basically where the grill can move like a mouth. Of course, basically the bus has always had an anthropomorphic quality to its face, always. I love how we're taking full advantage of here, where it makes the ping and the basically explain echolocation to the kids out there in the episode here. Okay, that pinging is basically letting out a sound that will reverberate back and allow the blind bat to see based on the sound wave.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. Anyways, of course, Arnold puts on some earmuffs, so he's like, oh man, that pinging noise is getting on my nerves. He puts on the old earmuffs, and it's going to come back later. Meanwhile,
and they fly through just fucking hundreds of bats, and that's great. You know what the bats look like animated here, Dragon? They look like tiny, furry fucking people. Anyways,
I tell you, I did not see our conversation going to this many places this episode. I really did. I did not. Regardless of the bus, the more nightmare fuel for Tiki. Let's just like throw some more on the fire here. We have the bus snacking on moths on the water.
Yeah, I don't really care for that. I mean, that's fine. The bus has got to eat.
That's fine. The bus eating a moth is fine, but everything else.
Who cares about the moth? I don't know.
Okay.
Insects aren't really my phobia. I can deal with insects. Except when it's got like more than 4 legs, then we're going into like the too many moving parts for one brain thing. But
okay, so the point being, they bats find food in the dark. So it's not to scare people, but it's to find food in the dark. And Arnold, he wants to go back. Ralph wants to go back to the castle because he's fearing for their folks and their lives. Basically, wants to get back there. And then he gets an idea. Essentially, I believe the idea is to use the bus's echolocation to get back in the castle because now they're to scale. They can fly in the place. I believe that was the plan, but he randomly button mashes, which is never a good idea when you're transforming Magical School Bus kids. If you can take any lesson away from it, take that one away from it. Never just randomly push buttons. So you at least, or importantly, as I can determine just from the rewatch here, look at the buttons and try to determine what they mean from the image on the buttons. There's always that option too. Even if you don't have the manual, just take a healthy guess. So that was really pushing buttons, which ends up transforming all of them. The transformation function, which does happen from time to time in Magic
body horror. They get transformed into the thing that I hate. Yay.
By the way, I love there's a logic here. There's a bigger button that turns the bus, and the smaller buttons transform the people inside the bus. In fact, there's actually a logic to the inside design of the Magic School Bus. Really neat there. Anyway, yes, they all transform into kind of a mixture of themselves. Basically, bats with kid heads.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't terrible. It's not like the most horrific thing in the episode, but it's not really pleasant to look at.
Let's see, out of the kids here, so Wanda's having a great time with the flight, just being able to fly. I mean, that's pretty cool. If you're a bat, you can fly. And I gotta remember, they have the best of both worlds, because they don't have the purely echolocation thing. They can turn on if they want to. They're just going to fly around. Then we have Carlos, you kind of swoop in, kind of get a drink by the water, but also you can chow down some bugs, which is not as appealing as the moth thing from earlier, if you ask me, but they're chowing down.
We have Dorothy just kind of being like "Woo, watch me, Tim, I can turn on a dime."
Yep, they're all very excited about the flight, which, good for them. They can fly. They can fly, they can fly, they can fly. I don't know.
I would be way more concerned about, like, the actual structure of my body. Again, I have a thing with body horror, Dragon.
I can tell. I can tell.
Like, the ears, oh, no. No.
Anyway, Lampwick, if we can move on from here. Anyway, so, they're hanging upside down. Really good show. They're all hanging upside down, too, by the way. Arnold and Tim just kind of hanging upside down. They remark on the moonlight. And, of course, this brings us to the point where they're almost attacked by an owl. There's more body horror for you. An owl swoops in, tries to make a meal out of them. And then we have, like, the really informative lesson here that bats avoid the moonlight. They really thrive in darkness. The reason bats are in caves is because if they're in the moonlight, they're really out there, just kind of hanging around, literally. They could fall prey to an owl, which, of course, Tiki, little quarter owl's lesson there for you. That's why the owl is the natural predator of the bat.
Of course.
Get to see it in play here. Anyway, sorry.
That was adorable, Dragon.
Anyway. Oh, good. Anyway, so they're having a safe flight going on now. Basically, darker the night, safer the flight, being the operative lesson to take away from here. Let's see, the parents, they have an image of the parents being turned into bats, which is kind of horrifying to them. So Carlos is then entertaining the notion.
One of them is Matt Murdock.
True.
I'm sorry, I had to.
I'm really interested to find out if he was a lawyer. If he was a lawyer, that would be fantastic. We don't know what he does during his day job. We don't know. I'm sure one of these parents.
He looks a lot like Matt Murdock, all right? I'm just pointing it out.
I think he does have red hair, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the girl has. Yeah, therefore he could be Matt Murdock, all right. Anywho.
He could be blind Matt Murdock.
Well, he'd be very miscast if he wasn't. Anyway. Point being, now the kids are starting to buy into the paranoia that, what if our parents are being turned into vampires, man? Like, we just got turned into bats. I mean, who are we to, draw the lines in the ethical sand here?
Yeah, right.
So important.
We're literally like fucking abominations of God.
No, but in all seriousness, they hear Miss Frizzle echoing some of the vampire, kind of plans from the comic that Ralphie had. It's like, oh god, there's the same things that were said in the comic. It's kind of the old SpongeBob robot misconception of like, is he a robot? That sort of thing. Like, batteries. He was in boop boop beep boop boop up dance. Anyway, so basically, it's a kind of a comedy of errors. So it's kind of Frasier writing for the kiddies in the '90s, essentially. Anyway. Okay, let's see. So Keisha's starting to buy into it as well. They go back to the castle. They're on. I love we see the bell in the castle too. Kind of explore the real estate of the castle is just really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
We hear the parents, and of course, Miss Frizzle basically kind of entertaining the crowd here, like, who wants to be the first victim? Who wants to be my first victim? Which, of course, Keisha's grandmother.
I think my theory at this point is that Miss Frizzle is like well aware of what's going on, and she's just fucking with them.
Yeah, she's got to be, right? So let's see. So then Keisha, she flies into action to save her grandmother's going to fall victim next. Like, no! And again, good for you. I got to tell you, it's going to sound really stupid and corny, but just bear with me. I got to tell you, I like that Keisha was so into protecting her grandmother. That was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the kids follow to save their parents as well. It's really dark. They're kind of having some trouble seeing what they're normalized. So they turn on the echolocation, which allows them to see. And, of course, Arnold, he bumps into stuff without realizing he still has his earmuffs on. And, of course, we drive home the echolocation lesson again because this is educational for the kids. Again, it's always nice when we have a balance of there's an episode here, but there's also a lot of education. But sometimes, there's a little bit, we got to hammer it in there. But it's not getting too much in the way here. It's like, okay.
It's not too much in the way. It's there. It's prominent. Yeah. It's definitely prominent.
Yeah, exactly. Prominent, but not overbearing. That's the line. Okay, let's see. So then this is Mrs. Franklin here, essentially Keisha's grandmother. she and the rest of the gang of the parents, so they're in disbelief over look at what you did to us. I can't believe you've done this to us. And it sounds like, oh god, it's almost like that scene in Toy Story 2 with the misunderstanding. They were like, Woody's being tickled to death, like, oh god, what are they doing to them? Let's see, so and your children, I'll get you your children, they're gonna suffer the same, will our children suffer the same fate? As we picture them all upside down and everything. Oh, God, just leaves this great shot. They're all hanging upside down.
And they're basically doing it as yoga, more or less, Dragon. They're all a bunch of fucking wine moms.
Pretty much. They're all hanging up. Well, they had that tomato juice earlier, anyway, so they're all hanging upside down.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, Dragon. This is like some new age hippie yoga shit right here. Do you not agree?
Yeah, but it's like festive. It's kind of festive. Hey, we learn about bats, and hey, maybe we kind of get the bats POV ourselves here by hanging upside down. So it's kind of.
Oh god, I just think there's something very silly and new wave about it.
I'm thinking more like a new wave learning annex sort of thing of like, hey,
yeah, which is what Miss Frizzle is. So you know.
Let's see. So we have this beautiful. That sounds so ridiculous, but there's this moment here. This is why I don't know. I think this is why Phoebe really stuck out to me. She has this beautiful little moment in the episode.
Oh yeah. I know what the moment you're talking about. Yeah, it's pretty damn poignant. Somehow.
Where they see their parents hanging upside down with bad ears and basically the cape and everything going on. Where it seems like, and then there's moments where they see their parents like this, and from a distance, and then Phoebe has this really poignant moment where it's just, "I love you anyway, Daddy. I'll love you forever." It's so darn poignant.
And she says this as she's in a fucking abomination of God and a fucking bat body, but still, yeah, it's very, very poignant, Dragon. It's like by far the most poignant moment of the episode, like far and away, and it kind of comes out of nowhere.
I gotta be honest, based on this moment alone, it does make me interested. If I were to go back to Magic Schoolbus, I think I'd be paying a little bit more attention to Phoebe than I did in my youth. I don't know. What does this kid got going on? This kid kind of has my ear right. She's got a blind father. She loves him no matter what, even if he gets turned to a bat. I mean, she's kind of the optimist of the room. I'm kind of digging this kid, man.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm kind of on the same page. That moment stuck out to me as well. All right.
So let's say Ralphie then leads the kind of the charge, essentially for revenge. Like, look what you did to our parents. Let's make sure essentially they're going to take out Miss Frizzle. It's kind of dark when seriously, let's make sure she doesn't do this to anyone ever again when they think their parents have been actually transformed against their will here. So they're
I love how the school bus just gets in on the action.
Yeah, the school bus is subservient, man. So let's see. So then we reveal they're all kind of shackled up there as kind of like a fun hey, let's see what it's like.
Like I said, like new wave yoga,
or kind of
new wave festive holiday yoga.
Or seeing how the Burton Batman sleeps. Let's see how Michael Keaton sleeps. He sleeps upside down like a bat, apparently.
I love how Ralphie's mom is just like, oh, that was incredible. I really felt like a bat.
Oh, yeah. So they all undo their shackles. They get down, and he says, okay, so let's go to the class project they all got. Let's go meet the kids for the class project. And let's say, and of course, Carlos's dad has the funny line of, I don't know about you guys, I could hang around here for another hour. Mr. Ramon. Which, I gotta tell you, saying that out of context, is because, and just the humor of this character does remind me a little bit of The Flash, where it's like, oh man, of course, I know you haven't fully gotten to it yet, but you saw some of season 2. Harry, the more serious of the Harrison Wells, the actual Harrison Wells from Earth 2, he constantly calls Cisco Ramon. It's kind of a shorthand for him, saying, oh, Ramon.
Ooh, that's kind of creepy. I like that.
Oh yeah, man. Seriously, you got to watch all season 2 of Flash, man. Anyway,
all right.
Okay. Sorry, getting back on point here. So anyway, they all learned. I think we've all learned a little something about bats. I'm no longer as afraid of bats as I used to be. Maybe that's what you needed, T. Maybe that's the kick in the pants you always need, but you
nope.
No.
Still just as afraid.
Well, screw my logic then.
I don't care about some new wave yoga crap seeing things upside down.
See ya, Donovan. Donovan's got to beat it, man.
All right, later, Donovan. Hope you enjoyed this very unconventional conversation.
All right. Let's see. Almost out of the woods on this one here. So, again, so learn about bats and no longer is afraid. To be a bat is to be a bat is to love a bat, I believe is the turn of phrase there, which I know you fundamentally disagree with, but it's the turn of phrase in the episode. All the parents are very pleased with Miss Frizzle being the operative, and they're all pleased with Miss Frizzle. They get a taste of what it's like to be in Miss Frizzle's class, which is kind of a really neat idea too. It's simply
I mean,
magic.
again, I kind of go back to the Hogwarts thing. I mean, I'm not saying that she's a wayward Hogwarts professor or anything, but I'm saying she has the same vibe as like a good Hogwarts teacher.
Let's see, and of course, like, oh yeah, it's simple. It's like my kid says, it's simply magic. And of course, off to the side says, oh, you don't know the half of it, man. They didn't even get to see, they didn't get to be transformed. Like, we're literally transforming the bats. They're just dressing up like bats, man. They don't get it.
These fucking wine moms.
So of course, the parents then kind of say, "Oh man, these bats look awfully familiar, don't they?" Look kind of like their kids. And it's like, oh no, Miss Frizzle's kind of writing it off here. We have this great moment where it all communicates. Where Bat Liz is on Miss Frizzle's shoulder here. It's like, oh yeah, she's in the know. She was in the know the whole time. She had to be. Then Keisha then basically she drives it home again. The moral of the episode to the kids out there by basically chastising Ralphie in front of everybody. You're like, you do it better. You're basically saying to Ralphie, you're like, I was in disbelief. That we completely fell for your BS, Ralphie, man. Darn you. Basically,
again, like the difference between Ralphie and TJ is that TJ at the end of the episode would still come out on top.
That is true. He would. So yeah, Keisha basically is driving the moral home that basically for the final time in the episode that again, remember kids, bats are not vampires. Ralphie was in the wrong. He didn't. Ralphie's in the wrong. The vampires all Hollywood magic. It's all about in any decent movie she would have been a vampire. I love how we called that out in the episode. We call like, yeah, if we really wanted to blow up the status quo, she actually would have been a vampire. But you know what? Would have been disingenuous. Would have undercut the whole lesson, the whole moral. So we didn't do that.
That would have been a lot of continuity to keep up with going forward.
Yep. So essentially, Keisha recaps the lesson per Ralph. Like, what did you and the whole we know what happened. We don't need to go over it again. So we clarified the distinction between kind of fact and fiction for the kids out there. And let's say, but one problem: we're still bats.
Right.
Thankfully, Liz shows up with the school bus. They all get on the bus. They get transformed back to normal, but they kind of surprise the parents outside the castle. Like, hey, what are you doing here?
All right.
Miss Frizzle gives a wink, and of course that wink is like, oh yeah, I know you guys are up to it. It's all part of the plan, guys. I got you covered. I'm Miss Frizzle. I'm awesome. That's a miss. I was about to make a Bruce Willis joke, but I relented. Anyway.
And Dragon, is this? Do you remember this whole bit at the end, like calling the Magic Schoolbus? Because I don't really.
You don't remember this? Oh wow!
I can't say that I do. No.
If I recall correctly, they end every episode like this.
That's interesting. That I don't. Again, maybe it's kind of like a childhood block. I don't know why this would be traumatic, but.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but before we get to that, real quick, just they all like Ralph has that guilty look his mother recognized. Like, what were you doing here? Oh, we were just hanging around. Oh, yeah, we're just hanging around. Isn't that right, Ralphie? Yes, that's all. Just hanging around.
Who else but Ralphie?
All right.
So yeah, break this thing down for me, Dragon.
All right, so after we iris to the bat, we then have the whole call-in segment. The idea is that I don't know how genuine this was. I don't know if this was just like them kind of like doing some extra PS stuff at the end of the episode, which essentially it is. I don't know if they actually had real calls come in. I'd like to think they did, but I can't verify that. All I can say is I tried to look into it, but I couldn't find anything. Regardless, they basically have someone who works on the show, a producer in this case. They would call in to somebody who worked on the show, or the idea is like in the show, like they actually film it with real kids in the universe. Basically, within the animated show, they filmed the show. So they went on location to shoot all of this, and basically, a producer gets a call for this follow up question here of like from basically a caller who's watched the show and says, "Hey, I watched your episode. You missed a couple bat facts," and basically we're covering the bases that they didn't have time to cover in the episode. That's the game.
Would you like to cover said bat facts, Dragon?
Sure. So basically, it's the fact that we only have they only showcased one type of bat in the episode. The fact there are various bats that eat, like they're fruit bats. There are bats that eat nectar. Like bats eat lizards even. And of course, while this is going on, our producer, who's walking through the castle set, he's being followed by a very vampire-esque figure building like a little gag. He's always like a little PS gag.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
It is a very Nosferatu like shadow, I will say. That was kind of cool.
There's always like a cutesy bit like that too, where basically we explain the echolocation wouldn't quite look like that. Where we had to take dramatic license with the echolocation and the fact that there are actually vampire bats. But again, a really cool factoid here: vampire bats it's a misnomer, as in the vampire bats aren't even actual vampires. I know they're what I mean. The point being, vampirism is an actual thing that gets spread at least.
Yeah.
The fact that it's basically the bats don't really bother people unless they're really instigated, I suppose. But basically, unless you're Bruce Wayne falling through a hole in the ground, you've disturbed the residents. I think you're pretty safe. Essentially, is what they're saying here. Unless you actively seek out the bats, and also
I don't want them landing on my shoulder. I don't want them anywhere near me.
One of these days, because we didn't tell it. Correct me if I'm wrong. We never talked about the Billy and Mandy episode with Dracula, with the Black Dracula, did we?
I don't believe so. No.
That's the thing, because that has one of my all-time favorite quotes from Billy and Mandy, where Phil Lamar plays Dracula. It's basically it's a pun on the black exploitation Dracula. That's essentially what he's doing in that series. And he had this wonderful thing. His catchphrase in this episode. It's one of his greats. We should maybe get to at some point. Where I don't know how Halloween is, but Dracula's in it, so we kind of count, I guess. Anyway.
Okay.
Or Dracula basically says, Dracula don't suck. Dracula scrape, then lick. That's what he does. He doesn't suck blood. He basically scrapes, and that's essentially what real bats do. And it's kind of what we say here. The bats, they don't actually suck blood. They scrape with their teeth and they lick. That's how they do that.
Right.
All right. So then, of course, we reveal Liz basically putting a scare in the old producer there, and says, "Oh, TV producers don't fall for that sort of stuff." I wasn't scared, but he absolutely was scared. That's kind of the gag, and that's all she wrote. That's the end of the episode.
Okay, so final thoughts aside from my petrifying fear of bats. This is a decent episode, I think, out of the selection so far of Hijinks. I don't necessarily think it's the cream of the crop. But, it definitely had a good mix of education and some atmosphere. We got, of course, we explored Miss Frizzle, and she's always a great character to come back to. Also made me realize that most of the kids on this show are pretty one-dimensional. But, a couple of them did kind of rise to the forefront with some oddly out of place melodrama that was kind of awesome.
Like Phoebe, man. Phoebe's got it going on.
So, I don't think this is a great, I wouldn't go back to this on my yearly rotation of Halloween specials or anything. It's not a Halloween special, of course, but it's fun in its own way. I mean, I liked it enough, but again, man, just the anime, I will go back. I will cite, Dragon, you are feeling the breath of billions of living creatures on your body at the same time. How does that not horrify you?
Well, it's the fact that it's if you walk, it's a wonderfully creepy observation that if you walk into a stuffy room that is filled with bats, it's stuffy because all those bats are breathing. It's awesome, man. That's a great line.
That's not awesome. That's the opposite of awesome.
Look, I'll acknowledge in real life horrifying, but as a line, that's a great line. That's a great observation.
I'm becoming a germaphobe in my old age, apparently. All right.
Anyway, well, for me, I think the episode's very informative. It's got a solid moral, basically solid lesson in regards there's a difference between bats have been getting. Basically, we circumvent the old bat stereotype. Bats, the stereotype of Hollywood that all bats, instant Dracula thought. It's it's a vampire turned into a bat or vice versa, and we demystify that in a really good way. And it basically, I guess, at the core of the episode is about how we extrapolate fear in our own minds, and that's the kids having the paranoia that something's about to happen to their parents, and they're jumping on the bandwagon. Oh God, what Miss Frizzle's a vampire trying to turn our parents? Oh God, the episode is kind of the cornerstones of the Magic Schoolbus in some regards, and it's an informative adventure. You go on the bus, we hit our beats, but we do shake it up a little bit with the fact that the parents are getting involved, and Miss Frizzle's kind of seeing somewhat of a villainous capacity for a shot, potentially villainous capacity. It's a solid episode, not really uberly Halloween driven, obviously, but of course we're going to run into that a little bit here. But importantly, though, as you can tell by my associate here, it is quite terrifying. Depending if you have a bat phobia, you probably won't live through the end of this episode.
Right,
no, but in all seriousness, though, again, there's a scare factor. It's about fear in essence, and also about kind of demystifying the old vampire of it all. So I think it comes together really well. It's pretty much it was fun revisiting the Magic Schoolbus and seeing, man, for an educational TV show, they had it, man. They still kind of have it, not as much as they have back from the get go, but they still have it, man. They got the spark.
All right, so Dragon, I'm going to bring our focus back around to that awesome hypothetical Vera Farmiga movie. And the next thing that we're tackling on Hijinks is, in fact, going to be a fairly self-aware live-action adaptation of a famous cartoon. And that's all I'll say about that for now. You'll just have to wait and see what it is. All right, folks, that's the end of tonight's spooky selections, and our spirits grew weary. But they'll be stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks. Arnold, no!